Welcome back to another episode of So You're Ready to Date, the podcast. Today is a good one. We're both really super excited about this. We are talking about spicing up your dating life when it's winter. Now, we are up north where winter starts at about October and doesn't leave until May, but we realize that there are people in all different climes who may not have the, winter where you don't go outside for like weeks at a time. But we wanted to give you an idea of how do we spice things up? How do we mix things up in our dating life? Whether you've been dating for years, you're on your second or third date, somewhere in between, so that you can have a winter dating experience that rivals even your summer dating experience.
Right. Because we all know there's so many fun things to do up north in the summertime. Now, I also get that down south, you might be when you spend weeks on end inside because it's so too hot to go outside. So for those of you down south, hold on to this episode, come back and listen to it in a few months when it's summer and it's 110 degrees outside and you can't even stand to go outside. We are going to throw some cold weather stuff in there that would be outdoorsy activity, just because we're selfish and it's where we live. But we've also got some really great indoor dating ideas to talk about today as well.
Yes. So we'll kick it off. We'll get the like cold weather stuff out of the way so that we can get to the stuff that maybe is a little bit more inclusive to everybody. But because, like I said, we live in South Dakota, so it gets cold, it gets snowy. And while not all of us, I'll raise my hand, I'm a huge fan of the snow and the cold. There are some great things that can come from having this cold weather. And one of my favorite ones is we have this place in town where you can go tubing, pulls you up to the top of the hill, you get in the inner tube, and then you just barrel down as fast as you probably can and are really hoping that that plastic fence at the bottom is going to catch you. So, but I think it's a really great way to get outside, try something different. You can go for as long as you'd like. Maybe it's a couple of rounds. You're like both cold and ready to go in and get hot chocolate, but maybe it's just enough of the kick in the pants to get you outside and trying something new that maybe it inspires you to find other outdoor activities you might want to try.
Yes. Yes. And that is a lot of fun, but that goes right along with, maybe tubing isn't your thing, but the snowboarding or the skiing is your thing. And that may not seem like a date night idea if it's not something that that your partner has done before, or maybe your partner does it a lot, but you haven't done it before. But you can go and get some lessons and take some basic lessons and have that experience together. Or maybe neither one of you have ever done it before, and you're both going to go get those beginner lessons on the bunny hill together. And that can be a fun, inclusive bonding activity as well, to try some skiing, to try some snowboarding, or to try that tubing, which takes absolutely no experience and no previous knowledge. So, I know even when we were down in Nashville, I think at the Gaylord Hotel, they had an indoor tubing. So it is possible that maybe you can find some place, even if you are down south where it's a little bit warmer, maybe you can find some place that's got an indoor option for something like that, because it was a lot of fun to get your childlike, whimsical self on in that situation.
Right. And then you just said that, I'm like, ooh, wouldn't it be fun to find a place with a sauna? I think that I could we're going indoors for stuff. Like, ooh, okay. But and again, the lessons, my thought also was like, if you feel comfortable and can take lessons from each other, it's a good thing. Otherwise, sometimes it's better to have like a disinterested third party teach somebody something, and then you can come together and talk about it. If not everybody is meant to be a teacher. So
that is a true story. Another fun outdoor, indoor, both activity is ice skating too. So here we have outdoor ice skating rinks, but we also have a couple of indoor ice skating rinks. So that is something that you can go do when you were, I don't know, when you were little, did you go do the roller skating rink thing?
Well, I was just going to say that. I'm like, tap into your inner 13-year-old and go roller skating because I don't know if I'm ready for ice skating, but I think I could rock the roller skate still because you did that on Friday night and everybody was there. And if you weren't there, then got talked about the next week. But finding some of those like nostalgic things that maybe are a kickback to when you were a kid. So we didn't talk about roller skating before, but I think that's a great option to add on to the list that you could do summer or winter. And try that out and see how athletic everybody is or isn't, right?
It totally is. And I hear what you're saying because ice skating does seem a little bit more intimidating. However, at the ice skating rink, they have those little walkers that you can hold on to. Whereas at the roller skating rink, you're on your own.
That's why you bring a date. So you have somebody to hold on to, right? Because if I'm going down and bringing you with me, kind of a thought, right?
But yes, both options fully available. A lot of fun tapping into your inner 13-year-old, singing some Tiffany. I think we're alone now, or I don't know, something going along those lines. That really dates me, but that's what was popular in the roller skating rink when I was skating.
Well, I think along those lines, things like laser tag, or we've got a couple of places here in Sioux Falls where they're like arcade/bars. So finding those other like semi-adult things to do that maybe have that touch of like childhood whimsy, that little bit of fun can really, again, spice things up because it may be something you don't want to be outside because the weather might be not the greatest, but it is still something that gets you out of the house, gets you doing something, and maybe you can kind of show off a skill that doesn't come up necessarily naturally.
Very true. And that goes right along with those semi-adult things. I have yet to meet a guy who doesn't love to get in a go-kart and do some go-kart racing. And ladies, this just might be your chance to show off your awesome skills and kick their butt.
Because we were all about finding those hidden little talents, right?
For sure. For sure. So don't be afraid to go and have some fun with it and think back to things that you used to enjoy doing when you were much younger.
Yes. One of the other things we wanted to bring up as well is kind of like a mystery date, for lack of a better word. Bringing your significant other to Goodwill, to the dollar store, giving yourselves a spending limit, and going to the Goodwill and finding like a shirt or a dress or an outfit for your significant other to wear, going to the dollar store, giving yourself, again, maybe a $5 limit, finding things for a date. But again, these are just ways to kind of step outside of your box, and maybe it'll kind of show your significant other how you think about them. Good, bad, somewhere in between. I guess it depends on what kind of outfit you pick out if you're going to the Goodwill. But again, we're trying to help you find ways that kick the dust off of your dating life and let you have a little bit of fun. Because remember, whether you've been dating for 10 years or this is, again, your fourth date, this should always be fun. So letting yourself have a little bit of fun as you go out and date and do these experiences and mixing it up so that you have fun stories to tell all your other friends about.
Absolutely. I think that that is so important. And I love the idea of the mystery date. So definitely take that. And, then maybe you just go to dinner, or maybe what you come up with at the Dollar Tree or at the dollar store dictates what you're going to do with the rest of your evening. So don't be afraid to go out there, give yourself a little bit of a spending limit and see what you can create for yourself. We've all got those creative processes and can get our creative juices flowing. And maybe, you have a group of friends that all have significant others as well that you guys generally hang out with. One really great idea is something like a progressive dinner or progressive date where you are all gathering at one person's or one couple's house or one person's house and starting off with drinks or starting off with an appetizer. And then after you finish that, you all go travel to the next couple's or next friend's house and you have a meal. and then you finish off at somebody else's house for dessert, or make that as many people involved in that as you want, but make that something where you travel around to different people's houses and try different parts of a meal there, and make that a fun inclusive date night that could include all of your friends, and maybe you end with a board game night or some other form of a game night.
Yeah, this was, I feel like it's going to date me as well. It was something my parents used to do, was like this progressive dinner with like their friends from church. But this would be also a great way to like rent a limo or a party bus that takes you from house to house, especially if you're going to be drinking. So then that way everybody's safe and we're not advocating for any kind of dangerous activity. But maybe, if it's this, around the holiday season, you end with like a drive around town to look at the Christmas lights, or you have a bar that you want to go to, and at the end everybody goes there to play games or do something like that. But this is a way to, like, again, be with other people. It doesn't necessarily have to be just you and your significant other, but a fun way to kind of involve your friend group and maybe get to know people in a way that your activities before haven't let you.
Very true. That does remind me of another activity that you can do, and it's kind of mostly maybe not indoors, but it's going on a food tour, right? You're going from restaurant to restaurant, bar to bar, sampling the food and beverages, and you're guided by somebody who has knowledge of what's local. And so it's a really good way to experience something you haven't in your own town, and go out on a different type of date. Now, I don't know that this was supposed to be winter and cold weather ideas, and I don't know that I would do that here in our town in the wintertime, because you walk between the different venues and it's a little bit nippy in January, but it's still an option that would be on the table for a unique and different type of date idea, because a lot of cities do have food tours.
So I think that's another, like you said, start looking into like different things in your city and your happening in what's going on in the city. And, you know, it never hurts to put out a Facebook request saying, hey, I'm looking for some fun, interesting ideas. If none of these are striking your fancy, none of them are, then there might be other issues in your dating life if you can't make something out of this work. But we just, again, want to find ways that maybe you're trying something new, maybe you're not, or just getting out of the rut of like sitting at home, ordering food, watching a movie, falling asleep on the couch. We're trying, I mean, that's good because I love that too. But sometimes you want something that involves maybe putting on like not yoga pants and a real actual dress or a real actual nice outfit, and getting it you all dolled up for a reason, and giving you that excuse to kind of get out of the house and try something new.
Yes. So going back, a couple of others that came up on the list, maybe you join a league. There's darts, there's bowling in the summertime. Again, not winter, but in the summertime, or maybe in the winter down south, bean bags, those types of things. A lot of them are indoors. It gives you an opportunity to get out with your significant other, but also gives you the opportunity to expand and make friends. And if you are looking for that significant other, finding something like that interests you, joining a league gives you an opportunity to meet other individuals who also enjoy that, which will increase your chance of finding a date if that's what you're looking for.
Right. Along that same vein is something that you had mentioned. I don't know if you mentioned it now or when we were off mic, but volunteering. There are plenty of opportunities in all through the year to like volunteer for different organizations in your community. And again, a great way to meet new friends, maybe meet a potential person who you're going to know from the get-go has similar values and ideals to what you do. So I think, you're starting off on a fairly decent foot if you're both volunteering, you're both active in certain clubs and things like that. So again, expanding it beyond what you're traditionally thinking of as a date or traditionally thinking of getting out and meeting new people with, and using that not as a way to just go out and find a date. That's not what I'm saying. It's a way to get yourself out there, exposed to new things and new ideas, and getting yourself in front of new people, because you don't know, you may not meet your special someone, but you may meet the person who introduces you to someone special.
Exactly. So the whole point is find something that interests you and go do something fun. Go do something that you haven't done before. Go try something new. Go stretch yourself outside of your comfort zone and see what happens. If you have somebody that will go with you already, that's fantastic. You're both going to have a great time doing that. And if you don't have somebody to do that with yet, but you're looking for somebody to do that kind of stuff with, going out and being the person that you want in a partner is what's going to attract them to you. So, single or together, this is a great list of ideas of things that you can spend your time doing, having some fun with, getting in touch with your inner child, getting out of the house, and meeting new people.
So if you've tried any of our suggestions, email us at soyou'readytodate@gmail.com, or we're always looking for more suggestions. Email those as well. Maybe there's something that we're not even thinking about that might be a potentially really great date idea. We would like to hear that, because believe me, this is not the last of our dating ideas episodes, because I think between the two of us, we're working on a couple more already that came up as we were prepping for this episode. So please send us in, ideas that you might have for dates, or situations where you want some dating ideas and tips, so that we make sure that we're getting you all of the good information out there. So all of that will be in the show notes. So drop us a line, or hit us up, so that we can make sure to include that in our next coming episodes.
And we will see you all next week with a brand new topic. So join us back here. Bye.